Now with the latest ITV News in London with Duncan, Golestani.
Tonight, the heroes land at Heathrow. After a huge haul of medals in Tokyo, our athletes are reunited with the loved ones they left in London.
It was so much bigger than I ever expected. I just saw all my family and I'm just so happy and amazing.
We'll have a medalist live on the programme. I'll be chatting to Mallory Franklin about success at her first games and what comes next. Also tonight, the COVID double whammy for the capital as commuters and tourists stay away.
I'm at Tower Bridge, which is looking a little different. It's been stuck open for 4 hours.
And living every football fan's dream, the kids getting a coaching session from some of England's greats.
It was amazing to go to Wembley. I never thought this would happen, but it has happened.
I really enjoyed it so much. It was out of this world and amazing.
Good evening. The final members of Team GB's Olympic squad have touched down at Heathrow at the end of another successful Games. Regardless of the medal haul, which was impressive, this was an Olympics where all the competitors triumphed against the odds. Training schedules were disrupted by the pandemic, Tokyo was hit by typhoons, and the athletes didn't have families or fans supporting them in the stadiums. No wonder there were tears and hugs as they came through arrivals today. Among them, Orpington's Joe Chung. He won our latest gold medal for the modern pentathlon, but has a much humbler wish to go with it, as Rags Martel reports.
A golden welcome.
Oh, that was unbelievable. I'd seen Tom Dean and some of the other Bath swimmers coming back, and obviously they had a big reception, but it's just it was so much bigger than I ever expected. I just saw my family, and I'm just so happy and amazing.
The BA flight from Tokyo touched down at Heathrow, full of some of the 65 gold, silver and bronze medals won by Team GB.
At the time, I think I was in a bit of disbelief. It's only now, looking back at the pictures, that I remember actually being there and enjoying it. It's literally a dream come true, and I don't think I could be happier right now.
I didn't expect so many people to be here, so it was really, really lovely to see everyone. All the hard work that it's taken to get here, and I did it, and I couldn't believe it, and it was such a special moment.
Last night, Japan said goodbye to the Games. 16 days of sport many thought would never happen.
Almost no praise can be high enough for what they've done. These were really difficult games to take part in. There was the backdrop of the virus, there was the whole administrative effort of getting them all there, and they haven't had any form of competitive build-up to get the experience necessary that defines those fractions of a second that sit between success and failure at an Olympic Games. So for them to have performed in the way that they have is little short of remarkable.
He knows he has got this.
Joe Chung won London's last gold in the modern pentathlon. Now going back home to Orpington, he just wants to see his friends.
Not thinking about training, that's for sure. I've got a lot of friends that I've not been able to see for a few months. Obviously, we had to stay safe before we went, so definitely be catching up with schoolmates, uni mates, and just sort of anyone I've not seen for a long time.
Heathrow arrivals in Terminal 5 was full of the proudest family and friends. But even for London's most decorated Olympian, being away for so long has been tough. Team GB flag bearer at the closing ceremony, Laura Kenny, posted this on Instagram after being separated for weeks from her son, Albie. The Olympic flame may have gone out, but the Games lit up a nation. And there's now only 14 days till the start of the Paralympics. Rags Martel, ITV News.
One of those returning home from Tokyo today was cyclist Ethan Hayter. He picked up a silver medal in the men's marathon yesterday alongside his housemate Matt Walls. And while they were lighting up the Itsu Velodrome in Japan, back here at the Herne Hill Velodrome in South London, young cyclists said they could finally see a path to success. Anna Geary reports.
A hero's welcome for London's Ethan Hayter as he arrived at Heathrow this morning. particularly after it had looked like a medal was slipping away from him and teammate Matt Walls in Tokyo.
Hayter racing round the bottom of the track. Maximum points for Britain at the end of the race. Denmark take the gold medal and Britain get the silver.
The 22-year-old developed his love for cycling almost a decade ago at his local velodrome in Herne Hill.
Good, well done.
As an under-16 youth rider, John was his coach.
So what is Ethan like and what makes him so special?
He works super hard. He's always worked super hard and he is really, really determined. And he was never afraid of setbacks, so if he ever crashed or he ever got sick, then he was always straight back up on the bike and as soon as he could be.
This unwavering tenacity was something Ethan came to rely on in the journey to his first Olympic medal, after being plagued with injury, including a broken back last summer. This made his victory all the more special for those who gathered at Jan's Cafe next to the velodrome to watch him secure silver on Saturday morning. Many of the junior riders said it was a motivational moment.
It's weird that someone who came from cycling around here is up in the Olympics winning silver.
And does it inspire you to go on and become an Olympian?
Yeah, it really does. It's really exciting, really cool to do that. It's just, especially because he came from our club, it makes you feel like there's actually a pathway to get there.
He's inspirational, to be honest, and yeah, it just believes that I can get somewhere one day.
Ethan now joins Olympic greats, including Sir Bradley Wiggins, on the Herne Hill Velodrome Alumni Hall of Fame. Pedal power he will no doubt hope to match and target a gold in Paris 2024. Anna Geary, ITV News.
Let's catch up now with one of our medal winners. Mallory Franklin from Windsor won a silver in the canoeing and also got the best result for a British woman in Olympic canoe slalom history. Not a bad first games then. Hello, Mallory. How was your return?
Hi. Yeah, it's been a little while actually since I returned. I got back, I think, just over a week ago. It's all been a bit crazy, but been really cool to get home and see my family and see everyone that was cheering for me whilst I was out in Tokyo.
Has it sunk in that you're a silver medalist?
I think it's definitely beginning to. It took me a little while, I think, but every time I get my medal out and just look at it, I think it hits me again. It's just, yeah, it's really cool.
While you were out there, did you get a sense of the huge amount of support that you were getting back here in the UK?
I think, yeah, you got a sense of it. Like, we had quite cool things, little things just set up around like our team tent within our competition area of like where our nearest and dearest had like put messages up and stuff like that. And I think that definitely helped us all have an understanding of the support that was back home and all the people that were there cheering for us.
A not insignificant message has just come in the last few moments. Let me read it to you. It's from the Queen. It says, "The skill, determination and hard work shown by the athletes and their support teams throughout the unique and challenging circumstances of the last year has been an inspiration to us all." That's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's really cool. I think that, yeah, to have those kind of messages come out, I think all the athletes will just be so pleased to hear that kind of stuff.
So what will your medal mean to you and the way you work, the way you train, Mallory?
I think, to be fair, I think it just gives me that boost of knowing everything that I've been doing has been on the right path. And I think that it will just help me keep building that. Like, I compete in 2 disciplines. I have another discipline as well. So I really want to just keep fighting and keep pushing and try and hopefully get to Paris in both, which would be really cool.
Yeah, you're talking about Paris already, but there's no rest, is there? Because qualifying for the World Championships is very soon, isn't it?
I actually had that last weekend, was for my kayak discipline. So, yeah, I've just done my senior selection as well. And then, yeah, the World Championships are in end of September, start of October, I think.
Are you feeling more confident now that you've come back from Tokyo? Do you feel like you have momentum?
Yeah, I think that being able to do the runs that I did over the period of time of racing at the Games has definitely given me just a more confidence in knowing that I can perform on that stage. And if I find a good place for me personally, that will allow me to just go out and race and really enjoy my paddling, which is kind of the whole point of why I canoe anyway. So,
of course, we're all focused on the joy of winning a medal, but To get a medal, you have to be so focused on margins. Have you already started going through what you did in Tokyo, or actually you just moving on now?
I haven't actually really gone into it that much. I think because I had such a quick turnaround in trying to get onto the senior team in my other discipline, I just kind of put that to bed a little bit. But I think I will, over the next kind of couple of weeks, go back and look at that racing and actually really try and analyse where the bits were and where like that gold medal was won and like lost for me.
And lastly, I did see that your fiancé said that he hadn't done some wedding admin while you were away. Have you taken him to task for that yet?
I haven't yet. I think that I was giving him, he did a lot of stuff for me over the games. He was amazingly supportive, and I think that he probably was just kind of a bit overwhelmed by all of the media attention and stuff that I got off the back of the game. So we'll work on that over the next few days. And now I'm home for a bit, I'll try and get some stuff sorted on my side as well. And then hopefully we can get going with wedding planning.
Totally understandable. Mallory, congratulations and lovely talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We'll move on now. And the undercover police operation, which resulted in the terrorist Sudesh man being shot dead, could not have achieved a more effective result, a senior officer told the inquest into his death today. A superintendent responsible for the firearms strategy on the day the 20-year-old carried out his attack in Streatham said tactics used at the time were the correct course of action. The brother of a British champion mixed martial artist has admitted stabbing him to death. Jarrow Shepherd was celebrating his 30th birthday with friends in Kennington when he was killed by 19-year-old Dwight Freeman last month. And protesters thought to be anti-vaccination demonstrators have clashed with police as they tried to gain entry to TV studios where the ITV show Loose Women was being broadcast. Videos posted on social media appear to show officers battling to keep a large crowd from entering the building in White City. They've now moved on to Broadcasting House. And vaccine hesitancy is still the highest in the capital. Figures from the Office for National Statistics found that overall the number of 16 and 17-year-olds who were hesitant to get the coronavirus jab has dropped. But Westminster, Newham and Kensington are among the boroughs with the lowest uptake of the first dose. Next tonight, one of London's most famous landmarks, Tower Bridge, is jammed open this evening. Our reporter Ria Chatterjee is there for us now. Ria, such an unusual sight. What's happening?
Well, to put it in really non-technical terms, Duncan, Tower Bridge has got its arms stuck in the air, hasn't it? But to use a technical term, they're called bascules. And so earlier today, they got stuck when a massive ship passed underneath. And when I say massive ship, I mean one of those ones with the huge white sails, the type of thing that you'd expect to see in a glass bottle propped up on a mantelpiece. Now, we know from officials that this is because of a technical issue, but that's all they're saying at the moment. And this is a busy old bridge, so before lockdown, more than 40,000 people crossed it every day. And on average, those bascules open around 800 times a year, so that's pretty much twice a day. Traffic, obviously, has been backed up around here all day. People haven't been able to cross the bridge, so it has caused a bit of disruption. The last time this happened at Tower Bridge was last August, and before that, it hadn't happened since 2005. So the advice from officials this evening is stay away from this area until it's all better.
Good advice. OK, Ria, thank you. The capital is set to miss out on £7 billion of spending this year. That's according to the Centre for Economic and Business Research, which says London is being hit hard by the lack of foreign tourists and fewer Brits than normal wanting to spend their holidays in the city. And it's not just holidaymakers who aren't coming to the capital. This morning, the Business Secretary said while he would like to see civil servants returning to the office 3 days a week, flexible home working is here to stay. So what does all of this mean for London's future? Our political correspondent Simon Harris has been finding out.
On a damp Monday morning, one of London's sightseeing buses boasted that rarest of species, the lesser spotted American tourist. Laura and Audrey from Utah have taken advantage of relaxed COVID rules for visitors from the US.
We've come for pleasure to get out of our country and spread our wings a little that COVID's lifting up a bit.
But most on board were staycationers.
We're from Bournemouth and we used to live fairly close to London, so we thought we'd bring the children and the family here for a day out to see the sights.
So we're from just outside Blackpool. We've come down from my brother's wedding and then having a few days extra.
Before COVID, as many as 8 out of 10 passengers on these buses were from overseas.
And we operate in 23 cities across the world, and in Paris, in Italy, in Berlin, we're seeing 40% of our customers already from the US, and in the UK, we've had maybe 1 or 2 in the last week.
At the 5-star Landmark Hotel in Marylebone, Mark and Francesca have just got married, but Mark's South African parents had to quarantine en route in Montenegro.
They had to do 10 days in Montenegro. Then they had to have their 2 or 3 COVID tests there. Then they flew into London. They had to quarantine, do the 5-day test and release.
Yeah.
So they spent thousands of pounds on PCR tests. I think they've had like 6 or 7 PCR tests.
Travel restrictions have left a big dent in luxury hotel bookings.
We've missed the Middle East business, and certainly for a lot of the luxury hotels in London and luxury retail stores, they very much rely on that Middle East business, and that has not been forthcoming.
Foreign tourists used to make up around 2/3 of summer visitors to the Tower of London.
At the moment we're getting nearly 4,000 visitors a day. It's the summer holidays, so it's the peak for this year. On a normal summer's day we would have had over 10,000 people.
Last year the pandemic cost the Tower and the other historic royal palaces £100 million. The tourist drought isn't the only big challenge facing London's economy. Working from home continues to have a huge impact on many businesses, which is one reason why ministers want London's 100,000 civil servants to start going back to the office.
The small businesses, especially your cafes and lunch venues, they rely so much on that commuter traffic, going past their cafe in the morning, stopping in for a coffee and a bite to eat.
Outside Buckingham Palace, there was a sprinkling of tourists, but nowhere near the normal crowd. London desperately needs its visitors and its commuters. Simon Harris, ITV News, Buckingham Palace.
Still to come on the programme, it's raining again. We'll have the weather forecast. Plus,
Bukayo Saka comes in.
The round of applause that united North London this weekend. But first, it's the only surviving Latin Quarter in the country, and this weekend it took a big step forward to remaining just that. The Seven Sisters Indoor Market in Tottenham was due to be demolished and replaced with 190 build-to-rent flats. But after a 15-year campaign, the developer has confirmed it's axing its plans. Sam Holders spent the day with stallholders and members of the Latin American community who say they're relieved, but the fight isn't over yet.
The last of London's Latin villages. A tiny market so significant, the United Nations warned demolishing it would be a threat to cultural life. After well over a decade, the plans to gentrify Seven Sisters Indoor Market have been scrapped. Although most of it is now temporarily closed, this is a cultural hub for those from South America. Vicky broke down in tears when she heard the news.
It's been amazing. I can't express. I can't put into words the feeling. I felt like someone said to me, "You just won the lottery," because actually it is the lottery for us. It's just amazing feeling.
Property developer Granger had planned to build 190 flats here, but they pulled out following local pressure, protests and lawsuits.
This is a destination spot. You know, people are coming from all over London to visit the Latin village. You know, it's important to us in Haringey, it's important to Tottenham, and it's important to London and beyond.
The market is owned by Transport for London. Campaigners have put forward their own redevelopment plans, but there's been no agreement yet. And there's an even more immediate problem. Concerns about safety have meant the market's been closed since March 2020, leaving traders without anywhere to work. In a statement, TfL said, "We want to see traders being able to operate safely again as soon as possible. We will work with the local community and stakeholders, including Haringey Council, while we consider our potential next steps and options." Some stall owners have been forced to find nearby locations. Traders have been given financial support by TfL, but it's not clear how long this will last.
The question is, if that support was given before, where is it now? When will the traders get it? And if the traders are unable to trade in the building due to health and safety issues, where will they be allowed to trade instead?
Although the property developers pulling out has been a landmark victory for the campaigners, the future of the landmark Latin village itself is far from clear. Sam Holder, ITV News.
The ITV News continues at 6:30. Here's a look ahead now with Charlene.
Coming up, a code red for humanity, the hard-hitting UN report on the climate crisis. Scientists say we'll get more extreme heat waves, fires, droughts and flooding if the world doesn't act fast. Also ahead, protesters plead with the PM to save Geronimo, the alpaca condemned to death over failed TB tests. And a hero's welcome for the Team GB stars, but what will be the legacy of Tokyo? Join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
Now, believe it or not, the Premier League kicks off on Friday, and after a successful Euros tournament, the buzz around the beautiful game is arguably the greatest it's been for decades. Inspired by what they watched last month, 60 children were at Wembley Stadium this morning for a coaching session with some very famous faces who had some very wise words for our London players. Anton Allen was there too.
Walk out of Wembley's tunnel, tick. Pose with an England legend, tick. Be coached by a Premier League manager, tick. Today, lucky children fulfilled every football fan's bucket list. In celebration of 5 million hours of free fun football provided by McDonald's, children from the same grassroots teams as England's Euro players had a coaching session on Wembley's pitch.
It was amazing to go to Wembley. I never thought this would happen, but it has happened. I really enjoyed it so much. It was out of this world and amazing.
Former Chelsea player and coach Frank Lampard believes grassroots football is integral for a healthy England squad and nation.
Things like the Euros this year are great because you can see role models, you can see a real positivity around the nation. And of course the accessibility of these grassroots level for everybody from every background to be able to play. How are we doing?
Today was a chance for young people to meet their heroes.
Yeah, it was amazing, just seeing someone that could an idol to me.
Today's programme was launched in 2018 to encourage kids aged 5 to 11 to take their first steps into football. You reached the highest level of the game. How big an opportunity is it for these young people to run out and play on Wembley?
Oh, it's incredible.
On Friday, the Premier League kicks off with a London derby between newly promoted Brentford and Keown's former team Arsenal.
They've a very good striker up top. So, no, I think Brentford could surprise a few people. Great little club, nice stadium. But Arsenal need to get off to a flying start. Some really difficult games. They play Chelsea and Man City to follow on from that, and Spurs not too far away. So pressure for Arsenal if they don't get off to a good start.
At the weekend, Bukayo Saka was applauded by Arsenal and Tottenham fans as he played for the first time since he received racist abuse after missing a penalty in the Euros final. Sir Geoff Hurst attended the final. After the loss to Italy, there were some England fans who turned on some of the England players. As a legend for our country, how did that make you feel?
I think sick is the word. So many people are getting stick on social media, and that was just another instance of it. Totally uncalled for, and sadly we have these idiots around who are doing this, and it's absolutely disgraceful and bordering on the sick.
England were unable to walk up to the royal box as Euros champions. But the hope is that schemes like this will help the next generation go one better and bring football home. Antoine Allen, ITV News.
A reminder now of our main headlines in London this evening. Tower Bridge has been left open due to a technical fault causing traffic problems in central London. The bridge, which is one of the capital's busiest Thames crossings, has been stuck for several hours. City of London police are urging drivers to avoid the area. And the capital has been hit by a COVID double whammy as tourists and commuters stay away from the city. The Centre for Economic and Business Research says London is set to lose out on £7 billion of spending. Back to our top story, and it's been an Olympic Games like never before. More events, more medals, but sadly, no support, at least not in the stadiums of Tokyo. Back here, the families and friends who have given so much to our athletes over the years were forced to cheer them from their sofas, but they didn't half make a noise. The weather is next, but first we'll leave you with our Olympians' greatest achievements and the homecomings that this time mean that little bit more.
The day is breaking in Japan on what will be the first full day of competition.
The start of the Games that will be like no other.
The Olympic flame was lit.
For our Olympic hopefuls, the competition now feels more real than ever.
Wrapped up, so consumed by all this hurt. If you ask me, don't.
Max Whitlock made it Super Sunday yesterday, winning gold on the pommel horse.
It was a long time. You know, Willow's so young as well, so it's really difficult, but amazing surprise to come back and see him in the airport.
Would you take the wheel if I lose control?
Prince of Peckham, Kai White, made history, becoming the first Brit to win a medal in the sport at the Olympics.
Who else could say the son's an Olympian, you know what I mean? And he just said, I've got this. And he sure did.
It was fourth time lucky for Tom Daley. At the Aquatic Centre, where he trains in Stratford, his supporters were right behind him.
This is so good because it's so inspiring seeing someone that you train with. When you see him go out, go get his gold that he really does deserve, it's just so exciting.
Gave me more than a hand to hold.
Our golden moment today was Tom Dean.
Everyone jumped out of their seats, roaring loud. It was amazing. It's like nothing I've ever seen or felt before.
Seeing Tom win that is like above and beyond. I think that's the best moment of my life.
Will you take me home?
The medals keep on coming for Team GB's Londoners at the Olympics.
Mallory Franklin's picked up silver in the canoe slalom event.
Just a massive privilege to help her along her journey, you know, like being there on the dark days, celebrating the wins, and just supporting her through that.
Would you take the wheel if I lose control? If I'm lying here, will you take me home? Could you take care of a broken soul? Or will you hold me now? Or will you take me home? 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 Or will you take me home?
Making the most of it, whatever the weather. Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Good evening. We should start to see some more August-like weather, I think, for this week. But for this evening, we've still got a thunderstorm warning in force. Some torrential downpours, lightning, hail, all a risk, gusty winds in and around these showers as well. And the trouble is they're tending to line up. So some places are seeing quite a bit of rain falling in a short space of time, leading to a continued risk of flooding. So that's the picture at the moment. Into tomorrow, a couple of showers, but not too many. And then we turn our attention out to the west because we have got another feature moving in. But it does tend to keep any rain out to the west, and for us we actually pick up a bit more of a southerly flow ahead of this feature, and that brings in some warmer air and allows our temperatures to rise a bit into the coming days. But yes, this evening we're talking thunderstorms. As I say, they are lining up, leading to this continued risk of flooding. We have got the potential for some flashes and bangs, a bit of hail, and the winds are quite gusty in and around them, but it does turn drier as the night goes on. Clear skies. These are typical temperatures, our minimums by the end of the night, but venture out of the capital, values will probably be a bit lower, and you could see a few misty patches forming here as well. But for many, it's a fine start to things for tomorrow morning. Very different than the start some of us had this morning, so some lovely sunshine to begin the day. But a bit more cloud bubbles up as the day goes on, and we could catch a shower or two, though to be honest they're very few and far between, and for most I think a largely dry story. Temperatures just get that little bit higher as well. And this is a theme that continues, so as we push through the bulk of this week, I think a lot of dry weather to be had, and temperatures, especially through Wednesday and Thursday, pushing into the mid-20s. Have a good evening.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.